beginning to wish I'd parked at the top end. Whew. Okay, here we go. Morning chalk. I think, annoyingly, this is actually a public byway, but it's one of those ones that have been gated off by the landowner. I'm seeing loads of butterflies. It's the end of October. Oh yes, here we go. Nearly there. Just over that little hump. Good morning. We had a failed video, didn't we, a couple of weeks ago, where we went to look at the site of the Tottenham Roman Villa, where there's absolutely bugger all to look at, but followed up by a trip to Luton Museum, which is where all the finds from there are being kept. But the museum was shut, wasn't it? I've got to keep my balance here, I'm standing on something. So today we're going to try the museum again, but first, instead of just going back to Tottenham Villa to look at nothing, I thought we'd come to Maiden Bower, where there's quite a lot to talk about and we can see a little bit more. Just to the west of Dunstable, just on the edge of town, we've got this old Neolithic causewayed enclosure called Maiden Bower. It started off as a Neolithic causewayed enclosure, but what we can see at the moment, where the line of trees are around the big open space in the middle, that's actually the later Iron Age boundary when it became a hilltop fortress. Well, not so much really a hilltop fortress, hopefully we'll get to see how it sits in its location at some point in the video. More of a sort of plateau fortress really. Right, let's see if I can get down from my vantage point without breaking a leg, and we'll have a little walk around and I'll tell you about the place. Yep. Oh. Thankfully somebody's dumped an ICB in the middle of it. There were a lot of finds dug up here, starting with George Worthington Smith back in the 19th century, and subsequent investigations and what do they call it, geophys and LiDAR and all that sort of thing. They've actually found a lot here. And all of the physical artefacts have ended up in Luton Museum, which apparently is open today. I did call them in the week, they said they've got no plans to be closed, so we'll turn up there and we might get to see some of the earthenware and the pots. I think there were pins, there were slingshots, and lots of human remains with their heads smashed open. Just to give you an idea then of where this plateau fortress is sitting, we'll walk to the northern edge where we got quite a nice little view across the vale towards Leighton Buzzard. Quite a commanding view here, and of course, just like most of the ancient sites around here, we're on the old Icknield Way. And we're also on the old ancient trackway, which I'm not aware has a name, but later became the Roman Watling Street. Now if you look down here you can see, I've got to be careful because I'm standing right at the edge. Although it's overgrown, hopefully you can just make out that this old monument has been quarried right up to the edge. The land drops away severely down there, it's quite dangerous. But a very good place for a hill fort. Now it lines up off in that direction with Ivanhoe Beacon. We'll have a little walk around that way and we'll probably hopefully be able to see the beacon from the other side. Off in that direction is Dunstable Downs, you can just about make them out peeking up over the hedges there. And then Dunstable itself's off in that direction. And over there, where are we? Over there you've got Warlord's Bank, which was another very similar ancient site, and the source of the River Lee, well, one of the sources of the River Lee. And Warlord's Bank, Maiden Bower and Ivanhoe Beacon over there are thought to all be part of the same processional sort of sacred landscape. Looks like the quarrying stopped just in time. That's a lot of land been taken away. This big hole that we're looking at is what used to be Hunger Hill. And if you can see that ridge over there, that's where there's an ancient byway that cuts through the old quarrying site. But because it was a byway, they weren't allowed to touch it. So they left it standing there as this sort of precipice that runs through the two quarries. It's quite a walk up there. And all of those quarrying works, as you can see, came right up to the edge of Maiden Bower. Here's those old Iron Age outer defences. And all around it is arable farmland. There's been lots of finds here as well. Even back in medieval times, the farmers working this land used to dig up Iron Age and Roman coins, and they called them maddening money. I'll put that on the screen. They called it maddening money, which is an old form of Maiden Bower, maddening. They used to call it Maiden Bower, and I've looked that word up. I can't find any meaning for it, so I'm going to presume it's just an older form of maiden. Now, these days it's used by dog walkers and mountain bikers and not legitimate motocrossers. They ride with permission down there. You get the local kids on stolen scooters burning around up here. It's not unusual to find the charred remains of a little Yamaha somewhere, you know. But there doesn't seem to have been any sort of particular mystery to the locals about Maiden Bower, because if you look back over the centuries, it was always referred to as the castle. So I don't think anybody ever attached any sort of mythological status to it. They always pretty much knew what it was, but they did used to find bits of gold all the time. And somewhere, we're just walking around the west side of it here, somewhere around here, one of the geophys surveys turned up a small square brick building, thought to be a Roman temple. And later on they did find a Roman cremation, some Roman cremation burials just over there on the other side. So you had the Neolithic people here with their causewayed enclosure. Then later on the Iron Age people came along and built this structure that we can see today. And then even after that, the Romans were here with a little temple for some reason, presumably a pagan one. And this place must have seen some battles as well, because there have been a lot of heavily damaged skeletons found, including a couple of burial pits, mass graves. And also lots and lots of slingshot ammo has been dug up. I'm not aware of any impressive bronze swords or anything like that, but very definite signs of nasty skirmishes going on here. Can you hear the larks? Now, the only legend that I know attached to this place is one which is repeated not only all over the country, like the legend of the people of Houghton Regis trying to fish the moon out of the pond with rakes. That's a silly story that you hear applied all over the country. The legend that's applied to this place you actually hear all over the world. The legend says that a local ancient queen, not Boudica, as we all know, because this was Catavalorni land, some ancient tribal queen made a wager with a neighbouring king that she could house an entire army within a single ox hide. I don't know what it was she wagered with the king, but she came out of it tops and won something, because she cut the hide into lots of strips, lots of little thongs, tied them all together and made the biggest circle that she possibly could out of all those little bits of leather string. And where the circle sat, they built the defences. Oh, actually, the other legend attached to this, not specifically Maiden Bower, but this site, this area, is the talk of lots of Roman gold being buried just over on Castle Hill there, Tottenham Castle. Let me see if I bash my way through these nettles. Here we go. We'll see if we can actually see Tottenham Castle from here. And that's how close we are to the edge of town, look. I used to live in those houses. I've still got family who live there now. There have been repeated attempts to build on this. Thankfully, so far, it's always been refused, but it makes you worry that one day, you know. Gliding club's busy today. Here's the outer side of the Iron Age defences. I'm just wondering if we might be able to spot the castle with the gold from here. If not, we'll be able to see it from back at the car anyway. Castle's obscured. We'll see it in a second. Anyway, as I was saying, even back to the medieval times, they knew that this had been a castle, a fortress of some sort. But nobody was aware quite how old it was until that damage occurred at the quarrying down there, where they've taken the northern, they have actually taken the northern end of the Iron Age defences off. They've quarried it away, but in the process of doing that, they noticed in the cliff face that was revealed some big ditches. I think they were 3 metres deep by 9 metres wide. You could see the stain of these ditches in the white chalky cliff face, and it was only then that they realised they were dealing with a Neolithic causewayed enclosure, which apparently is a very, very rare thing. Okay, there's Tottenham Castle. It is literally sitting right next to this site. And that's where the local water is as well. That's where the springs are. So I'll tell you about the gold. Now we're in a Neolithic and Iron Age enclosure here in Maiden Bower, but Tottenham Castle, just over there, where we've been before, that's what you can see there these days are the remains of a Norman Motte and Bailey. Very typical classic setup over there, very Norman looking. And it's there that there are rumours of buried Roman gold. Now I found a little poem almost here from a local publication called Notes and Queries from 1910, and it says, "Still Tottenham dames rehearse their tale on eve of winter's day, about a chest hid in their knolls when the Romans went away. 'Tis at the bottom of that well on Castle Hill, they say. Of good old gold it was brim full, and lies there to this day." Well, that's interesting, isn't it? It makes me wonder. It reminded me, actually, makes me wonder, it just reminded me today. I used to know a bloke up in Kensworth. I'm not sure if he's actually still alive or not. He was in his late 80s and he lived in a static caravan opposite my allotment. And I used to chat to him occasionally. Now, he was telling me that back in the 1960s, he knew the brothers who were operating the current quarry at the bottom of Castle Hill. And there was some mysterious thing happened that I never got to the bottom of. I never got the full story out of him. Like I said, I've not seen him for a couple of years. I don't know what became of him. But he was telling me that they dug something up there that was really interesting, really unusual. They dug something up, it was very important. And before the local press got onto it, during the night, a big lorry turned up and carted away what they dug up. And I pressed him on this. I said, well, what was it? Was it treasure, or was it an alien spaceship they dug up, or what? And he said he didn't know. He didn't know what it was. It was something weird that got dug up and taken away in the dead of night. Was it that Roman gold? I don't know. I suppose it really depends on whether them brothers carried on bothering to run a quarry or not afterwards, doesn't it? Maybe that's something I can find out, whether or not there was a sudden change of hands of the modern quarry down there during the 1960s. That could be a dead giveaway. Well, we've had mercifully pleasant weather for our little trip to Maiden Bower, and this is a lovely place, especially in the summer, when this just becomes a big butterfly meadow. It is lovely just to come and sit here in the summer. If you live at the western end of Dunstable, come and check it out, but please don't cause any damage or leave any litter or make any noise. Right, let's try that museum again. First, just quickly, this arrived this morning. If you like green laning, but it's October and you're on road tyres, and it doesn't look like you're going to be able to get off-road tyres until past Christmas, get yourself one of these. Dig yourself out. Absolutely awesome. It's the US type, but this was actually produced for the Dutch army. It's absolutely awesome, this little thing. Strong as a rock. Very good for digging yourself out of a sticky situation. Right, over to the museum. Well, I'm not disappointed. There is a lot to look at here, and there's a lot of the things that I was hoping to find. There's some weird noises going on. There's a speaker up there on the wall. Can you hear it? Just going goot goot, goot goot. I don't know. Let me show you some things. There's some really cool stuff here. What are you doing? Stop it. I'm trying to make a video. Right. We've all been to the Five Knolls at the top of Dunstable Downs many times, haven't we? And I've described in the past, when we've been up there, the burial of a very important woman with some significant grave goods. Now, I know this skeleton. I saw this skeleton as a kid in Dunstable Library, and here she is now. And they've reconstructed her face look. There we go, let's get that reflection out of the way. They've done a reconstruction from her bones. She was very small, wasn't she? So whoever she was clearly of some importance to have warranted her own burial mound and a collection of grave goods. Was she a priestess or a queen? Should have been something along those lines. And just next to her here we've got a collection of finds from the Five Knolls and from Maiden Bower, where we just were. What is it here that was from Maiden Bower? This pottery just here, that's from Maiden Bower. Mesolithic blades from Kensworth. Hand axes from Whipsnade. Hand axes from Gadsden Row. And these Mesolithic finds here, they're all from Caddington, where we were, what, 2 weeks ago? Now here we've got a collection of axes and spearheads which came from Sundon and Chorlton. Been to both of those recently. And this bronze sword handle came from Ivanhoe Beacon. And these burial urns, they're also from the Five Knolls, sitting at the top of Dunstable Downs. Now here's an interesting little load of finds from Puddle Hill. One that's particularly caught my eye is this one here, number 6. It's an iron saw. I've seen plenty of blades, spears, knives, etc. I don't think I've ever seen a saw before. It's actually even still got its teeth, look. And an accompanying spearhead. There's a child's jawbone from the Five Knolls at the top of the Downs. And then these bits of deer foot and deer antler, they're from Maiden Bower. I'm enjoying this. Let's have a look in the next building. None of that was local. Not interested. Let's go in there. We're moving on into the Roman finds now. It's even noisier in here because we've got sort of video recordings playing in the background and some families about. But I hope you can hear me okay. These are from Tottenham Roman Villa. We've got some hypercaustic tiles and roof tiles, a little oil lamp. So this is the stuff that I was hoping to come and see the other week when we went to Rome. We went to the Roman Villa at Tottenham, but this place was shut. This is what I was hoping to get to see. Now there's a Roman pot which was found at Maiden Bower, so possibly connected to the pagan temple that they suspect was later built in the middle of it. There's some Roman finds, some pottery and some bones from the old Roman cemetery that they dug up in the centre of Dunstable. It's now a little housing estate, well a close called Friary Field, just behind Wilkinson's in Dunstable, but they found a whole Roman cemetery under there. And up here we've got some more finds from Puddle Hill, some more pottery. Now look at that Roman ox head. That was found in Houghton Regis. And here, also from Houghton Regis, we have what's described as a winged phallus. I can see a phallus, but I can't see any wings. Now I'm going to have to really shout over this lady, but just here is one of my very favourite finds. It's an iron dagger from Maiden Bower. Now, excuse the noise. Just here, look.
Very expensive spice saffron, used a lot of perfumes.
See that there?
As a pigment.
Dagger from Maiden Bower.
Most Roman cosmetics need a little bit.
And they found this poor sod in Luton. Argyle Avenue Cemetery, somewhere I've not actually heard of before. Anglo-Saxon, dates to around 400 AD. Maybe that's somewhere worth going and having a look at one day. Now this lot here is absolutely amazing. These are all grave goods that came from Marina Drive in Dunstable. I don't think there's actually anything to see there now. It was when the road was being built that they discovered all of these grave goods. I mean, look at this stuff. And from Puddle Hill as well, some of this. I've got a feeling that blade there might be from Puddle Hill. Those little weights are from Puddle Hill. But these decorated beads and the little bronze dishes, they're from Marina Drive. We'll have to go and have a look one day and see. I have pointed it out before when we've been past it, but it's houses. And here's more. Look at these lovely little glass beads and polished stones. Absolutely amazing. And this tiny little brass pot here, that's from Maiden Bower. And there's a brass shield boss which was found at Ivanhoe Beacon. These combs, look, these bone combs, they're all finely cut out and they're actually made of 2 or 3 layers, all riveted together. Can you imagine finding something like that? Absolutely amazing. Now these were found at the Priory Church in Dunstable. We'll have to go there one day, that's a very interesting place. This is a cherub's head, what remains of a cherub's head, and it's carved from Tottenham stone, so that would have come from the quarry where we were earlier. And also here we've got some wax seals from the 1100s. They were found at the Priory Church.
And dedicated his life to collecting, researching and reporting rural trades and crafts in the region.
That seems to be pretty much it for the ancient stuff. We've wandered into the Middle Ages here, and if we continue we're going to wander into the modern ages. Now I came here to look at the ancient stuff and we've done that, so we'll leave it there. We'll leave it there for today. I can't say I'm disappointed though. Well worth the visit. Well, that was awesome. I've spent so many years reading books and looking at websites and visiting all the ancient sites, and time again reading such and such was found and it went to Luton Museum, such and such was found and it went there. Finally actually come to get to see some of them, and just those finds from my immediate area, anything in there that's from Maiden Bower or Tottenham or Ivanhoe Beacon or even Dunstable Town Centre, you know, the Priory Church finds and the Roman finds. Just amazing to see all of that. I'm very pleased. And it was also nice to reacquaint myself with that priestess, or whatever she was, buried at the top of Dunstable Downs. Because like I say, I saw that skeleton when I was a kid, and it's laying in exactly the same position as I remember it. I think they've put her in the position, you know, that she was found, sort of thing. And there is a ton of other stuff to look at here. I've just wandered past a load of medieval stuff and a load of rural life exhibitions. There is a lot to come and see, but this is a long enough video already. We'll stick to the ancient stuff for now. And if you look in there, you see they've even got a Vauxhall exhibition on. Loads of old classic cars. I mean, yeah, I'd love to go and see that. But not today. This is always here, and it's free. So I'm going to come back and look at some medieval stuff. I'll come back and have a look at some old classic Vauxhalls. Plenty of things to do here. Farmer's Boy, Kensworth. See you later.